City Council is reevaluating the city's status as a sanctuary city, prompted by the rise in crimes involving migrants. The latest incident ended with 2 officers shot last week in Queens.
Plus a major setback for the City Field casino proposal, which is expected to create more than 20,000 jobs. So here to talk about that and more is Queensborough President Donovan Richards. So great to have you here.
Good to see you.
Let's talk first and foremost about this rally that took place yesterday to close down the Courtyard Marriott in East Elmhurst. Residents were saying, Borough President, that they have seen this increase in crime. Is there an increase in crime, and do you support the idea of closing it down?
Well, to make the case that it's because women and children, who a majority reside in that hotel, are the reason crime increases is certainly false. Now, we do have a lot of issues that have impacted northern Queens. A lot of people doing survival work in this community. It's one of the reasons why we're pushing on ensuring we can create more jobs, create stability for the families up there. But I would not attribute crime to this precinct based on.
But you're saying women and children live there, but that the migrant who allegedly shot those 2 police officers was a teenager and lived there.
So, well, he wasn't there since May, actually, prior to that. And let me say that we should not
lived.
Right, but people commit crimes all across Queens who live in Queens. So to make the assumption that because a migrant lived there, that all migrants are committing crimes is certainly false.
Yeah. So has crime actually gone up in that precinct, the 115?
So the 115th, we actually, before the shooting of these cops, had 0 shootings and 0 murders in the precinct. And there's been challenges up there related to survival work, much of that prostitution, a lot of that illicit activity, illicit street vending as well. But I would say most of the things happening up there, I would attribute to the lack of economic opportunity, and it's one of the reasons we're pushing for instance, the 23,000 jobs that Steve Cohen would create with his project.
So you're okay with it staying open? You don't want it to be closed down?
Of course. I mean, where do you want women and children to go? On the street? And that community, and I do want to say Queens has 50,000 asylum seekers in its care. We have in Long Island City 60 shelters. So every community, and I think the mayor, to his credit, has done a better job at ensuring that every community in Queens has to take in a certain amount of hotels to help with this crisis.
And do you think that this is going to affect New York's sanctuary city status in the future? Cases like this, crimes like this?
I think we have to be very careful with the rhetoric. One, I represent Queens County, 190 countries, 360 languages represented in Queens County. More than half of us are foreign-born, including my father, who became a citizen in 2020. So I want to be careful about the rhetoric we use, but without a doubt, the pundits on Fox News and others will utilize this opportunity to really push against the sanctuary status. But New York City has always been a city of sanctuary for immigrants from all over the world. And we have to ensure that we're very careful about the rhetoric we use.
Do you think police should be working with ICE?
No, and I really was against that going back to my days in the council. Now, I do think if somebody is involved in illicit activity, it's the job of the NYPD and the district attorneys to do their jobs. And if somebody's shooting at somebody, you know, that is certainly up to law enforcement to take those matters into hand.
All right, I'll tell you another big issue for you, because we've talked about it in the past, and that's the City Field casino proposal. I spoke one-on-one with Senator Ramos, who said, look, this is not what people in my district want. She's saying that she represents a number of people who said, we don't want it. You're the borough president of a number of folks who said they do want it.
Well, and that's not what I've heard. I think anybody who's polled and asked if they want a casino, of course they're going to say no. But if you polled people and said, you're guaranteed a job in this local neighborhood, absolutely they would say, we want a job. And not only just a job, a career, a ladder, economic opportunity, upward mobility. I point to Resorts World in Southern Queens, where thousands of people work, where if you clean a toilet, you are unionized. We keep talking about crime in the 115 precinct, which is in that Senate district. It's because of the lack of economic opportunity. So it's beyond the casino. Think about the hotel, Hard Rock coming in.
But she said she's not doing it. She said, I'm not putting forth legislation. So do you hope that another senator will?
Well, I'm not going to get into the deliberations in the Senate, but what I would say is certainly I believe the governor and the state legislature should ensure that there is a fair play here. One person should not be able to block 23,000 jobs, and that was the reason for the CAC, the Community Advisory Councils, being voted on essentially in the state Senate, which I would be a voting member of. So not one person should be able, and we've seen this play out with projects like Amazon. Think about the Queensbridge houses residents who have not, no one's come back to them and said, here's a job after they killed those jobs up there. So we're not going to sit idly by while that community suffers, and they need 23,000 jobs in their backyard.
Yeah. We also wanted to, while you're here, ask you about congestion pricing and the governor's decision to indefinitely postpone starting that here in the city. What do you think about that?
Well, I think we're going to have to find a pathway forward on congestion pricing. We do need it. We need to ensure that the outer boroughs, especially Queens being one of those boroughs. Listen, it is easy. I joke about this. It's easier to get to Florida by plane than Manhattan by bus and train on some days. So we need to see the investment. But I do think the MTA needs to point out more specifically, where is this money going? How is it really going to benefit Queens residents? And when you look on the map that they released, less than 5% of those projects are in Queens. And that's one of the reasons you see residents of Queens County driving in more often, and they've been very loud about not paying this $15 toll. I do think that $15 is a lot. I would hope that when the governor does unpause this, God willing, that we look at the price scheme a little bit more, and then perhaps maybe Sunday you should be allowed to come in for free. But we do need congestion pricing, and it is my hope that we find a pathway forward.
Maybe more exemptions too.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you support the idea of postponing it right now. That was the right call by the governor?
I think, no, listen, I think we need congestion pricing now. The governor has decided on the pause. We look forward to a date when it is unpaused so that we can proceed in getting big projects, instrumental projects like the IBX off the ground, which would connect Bay Ridge to Jackson Heights. So we do need to proceed because unless we could find billions of dollars, $15 billion to fill this gap.
All right, Governor's Ball last night. You hit the stage. What'd you perform?
Oh, man, Queens Get the Money
people.
was my theme last night, but 40,000 people every night from Friday on to Sunday. No crimes, including that encompasses the 115th. Great for Queens' economy. SZA was great. My first time seeing her perform.
Nice.
But I look forward to seeing them come back to Queens.
Yeah.
Queens Get the Money.
There you go.
All right. Great to have you here.
Great to see y'all.
Thanks for
I know
coming
you were
in.
out late, so.
All right.